Dr. Hannah Kim wiped the sweat from her forehead as she ran to the metal corridors of the research ship. The alarm bells were still ringing loudly throughout the vessel. Her medical bag bounced against her hip with each quick step she took. "Dr. Kim, hurry!" shouted Lieutenant June Parker ahead. His voice echoed off the walls as they rushed toward the medical bay. "The alien is dying fast." Hannah had been studying rock samples in her lab when the emergency call came through the ship's communication system. An alien spacecraft had crashed on the nearby moon surface. The rescue team had found one survivor, barely breathing and covered in strange wounds. As they reached the medical bay doors, Hannah stopped to catch her breath. Through the small window, she could see something that made her heart race. On the metal examination table lay a being unlike anything she had ever seen before. The creature was huge, at least 7 feet tall. His skin looked like polished copper metal, shining under the bright medical lights. Strange patterns covered his arms and chest, looking like tattoos but glowing softly with a pale blue light. His face was angular but somehow noble, with high cheekbones and a strong jaw. "How long has he been unconscious?" Hannah asked as she entered the room. "About 2 hours," replied June. "We pulled him from the crashed ship just in time. His vessel was completely destroyed." Hannah approached the alien carefully. Dark blue liquid was seeping from several deep cuts across his body. She had never seen alien blood before, but there was no doubt that this creature was bleeding to death. She activated her medical scanner and held it over the wounded being. The device beeped and hummed as it analyzed his body structure. What she saw on the screen made her gasp in surprise. "This is impossible," she whispered, staring at the readings. "What is it, doctor?" asked June, moving closer to look at the scanner. "His internal structure. It's almost identical to a human's. Heart, lungs, circulatory system, everything is in the same places we have them. But the blood chemistry..." Hannah paused, running the scan again to make sure. "It's compatible with human blood." The alien's breathing was becoming weaker. The blue liquid continued to flow from his wounds, pooling on the table beneath him. Hannah knew that without immediate help, he would be dead within minutes. She looked at the medical supplies available in the bay. There were no alien blood products, no specialized equipment for treating unknown species. According to the rules, she was supposed to wait for orders from Earth before treating any alien being they encountered. But as she watched the dying creature, Hannah made a decision that would change everything. "I'm going to give him a blood transfusion," she announced, already reaching for the medical equipment. "Doctor, you can't." June stepped forward, his face full of concern. "The protocols clearly state that we must get permission before dash." "The protocols don't account for watching someone die when we can save them," Hannah interrupted. She was already setting up the transfusion equipment with practiced hands. "His blood type is compatible with mine. I can see it right here on the scanner. But what if it's dangerous? What if his blood does something harmful to you?" Hannah rolled up her sleeve and cleaned her arm with alcohol. "Then I guess we'll find out together." She inserted the needle into her own arm, watching as her red blood began flowing through the clear plastic tube. The alien's body was so large that he would need more blood than she should safely give. But there was no other choice. As her blood entered the alien system, something strange happened. The glowing patterns on his skin began to pulse brighter, almost as if they were responding to the transfusion. The wounds on his body started to close slightly, the bleeding slowing down. But Hannah was beginning to feel dizzy. She had given almost a full liter of blood, far more than was safe. Her vision started to blur, and she felt her knees growing weak. "Doctor," June caught her as she began to fall. At that exact moment, the alien's golden eyes snapped open. He looked around the room quickly, taking in his surroundings before his gaze settled on Hannah. Their eyes met, and she felt a strange tingling sensation like electricity running through her body. The alien sat up slowly, his wounds now barely visible. He placed one large hand over his heart and spoke in a deep voice that seemed to vibrate through the entire room. The words were in a language Hannah had never heard, but somehow she understood that they were important. "Velthuri," he said, looking directly into her eyes. The words seemed to hang in the air between them, filled with meaning she couldn't understand. Then Hannah's world went black as she collapsed from blood loss. When she woke up 6 hours later, the alien warrior was sitting in a chair beside her bed. His golden eyes watched her with an intensity that made her feel both protected and slightly afraid. He had not moved from that spot the entire time she was unconscious. As soon as her eyes opened, he spoke again in his strange language, but this time his voice was gentle, almost grateful. Whatever Veltheri meant, Hannah knew that her simple act of kindness had created something much bigger than just saving a life. 3 days had passed since Hannah saved the alien warrior's life. The ship's engineers had finally managed to connect their universal translator to his language patterns. Now, sitting in the main meeting room, everyone waited to hear what the mysterious being had to say. The alien stood perfectly straight, his copper-colored skin still glowing faintly under the room's lights. He was even more impressive now that he was healthy. His shoulders were broad, his movements graceful yet powerful. The strange patterns on his arms pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "I am Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire," he said, his deep voice now clear through the translator. "I am a warrior of the 3rd Legion, defender of the Outer Rim territories." Captain Lee Sung sat at the head of the table, trying to look calm even though this was humanity's first real conversation with an alien being. "We're glad you're feeling better. Kethvar, we were happy to help." Kethvar turned his golden eyes toward Hannah, who was sitting quietly beside the captain. "Captain Lee Sung, you do not understand what has happened here. This woman, Hannah Kim, has done something that goes far beyond simple help." He moved closer to Hannah, then did something that shocked everyone in the room. The tall, powerful warrior dropped to one knee and bowed his head deeply. "By the ancient laws of my people, I am now bound to you, blood sister Hannah Kim." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the strange scene before them. "Blood sister?" asked Dr. Yumi Kong, the ship's head scientist. "What does that mean?" Kethvar remained kneeling as he explained. "Among the Zephyrian people, there exists a sacred bond called Veltheri. It means life debt. When someone gives their own life force to save another person, they become connected forever." Hannah felt uncomfortable with the warrior kneeling before her. "Please stand up. I don't understand why you're doing this. I just gave you a blood transfusion. Any doctor would have done the same thing." Kethvar slowly rose to his feet, but his respectful manner did not change. "Your people cannot understand the importance of what you did. You freely gave your life essence to preserve mine. You asked for nothing in return. You risked your own health to save a stranger." Engineer Day Cho leaned forward in his chair. "But it was just medical treatment. Humans help each other like this all the time. This is what makes your species remarkable," Kethvar replied. "In Zephyrian culture, such an act creates a bond stronger than family ties. Hannah Kim is now higher in my respect than my own parents, my own wife, my own children. She is my blood sister, and I am bound by honor to serve her needs above all others." Captain Lee frowned. "Serve her? We don't want anyone to be a servant." "It is not servitude in the way you think," Kethvar explained patiently. "It is a debt that must be repaid. Until I can give back something equal to what she gave me, I cannot rest. To break this bond would mean spiritual death for any Zephyrian warrior. My soul would be forever lost." Hannah shook her head. "But I don't want anything from you. I helped you because it was the right thing to do. That's enough for me." Kethvar's golden eyes grew sad. "Your kindness makes the debt even greater, blood sister. You expect no reward, which proves your pure heart. This makes my obligation stronger, not weaker." Lieutenant June Park, who had been quiet until now, suddenly looked worried. What if this is some kind of trick? What if he's lying to us? Kethvar's expression became very serious. His voice grew harder. To suggest that a Zephyrian warrior would lie about Veltheri is a great insult. We would rather die than break such a sacred promise. Honor means everything to my people. Without honor, we are nothing. 2 days later, long-range sensors detected something that made everyone nervous. 12 massive ships were approaching their location, moving faster than anything humans had ever built. They're Zephyrian vessels, Kethvar confirmed, looking at the sensor readings. "My people have come to find me." Captain Lee felt his stomach tighten with worry. Will they be angry that we interfered with you? They will be surprised. Kethvar said carefully. When the Zephyrian rescue fleet arrived, their ships were enormous. Each one was 10 times larger than the human research vessel. The aliens requested permission to beam aboard, and Captain Lee reluctantly agreed. 6 Zephyrian commanders materialized in the meeting room. They were all tall and impressive like Kethvar, wearing elaborate armor decorated with symbols of rank. Their leader, a female with silver patterns on her dark skin, stepped forward. Warrior Kethvar, we are relieved to find you alive. We detected your ship's destruction and feared the worst. But then she stopped speaking. Her golden eyes widened in shock as she watched Kethvar bow deeply to the small human woman beside him. The other commanders gasped. One of them spoke in rapid Zephyrian, his voice full of disbelief. Commander Zorlin, Kethvar said formally, I present to you my blood sister, Hannah Kim. She saved my life through Veltheri. The female commander stared at Hannah for a long moment. Then, to everyone's amazement, she also bowed. Blood sister, she said respectfully, the Zephyrian Empire is in your debt. Hannah realized that her simple act of kindness had started something much bigger than she could have imagined. 6 months had passed and Hannah returned to Earth. She was back in her small apartment in Seoul, trying to live a normal life again. The government had asked her many questions about the aliens, but eventually everything became quiet. She went back to her job at the research center, studying samples and writing reports. But normal life didn't last long. On a Tuesday morning, while Hannah was eating breakfast and reading the news, every television channel suddenly switched to an emergency broadcast. The president of South Korea appeared on screen, looking nervous and excited at the same time. Citizens of Earth, he began, we have received a message from our friends in space. A Zephyrian diplomatic ship is requesting permission to land at Seoul Spaceport. They say they have come to see Dr. Hannah Kim. Hannah nearly choked on her coffee. She had hoped that her adventure with the aliens was finished. 2 hours later, she stood at the spaceport with government officials and news reporters. The alien ship was beautiful, shaped like a silver teardrop and covered in the same glowing patterns she remembered from Kethvar's skin. When the ship's door opened, Kethvar stepped out first. But he looked different now. Instead of simple clothes, he wore elaborate robes made of shimmering fabric. Behind him came 5 other Zephyrians, all dressed in ceremonial armor that sparkled in the sunlight. Blood sister, Kethvar said, walking directly to Hannah and bowing as he had before. I have come to begin repayment of the Veltheri. President Ryu Jin-wook stepped forward, trying to look dignified, even though he was clearly amazed by the aliens. Welcome to Earth, Kethvar. We are honored by your visit. The honor is mine, President Ryu, Kethvar replied politely. But I have come to fulfill my debt to Hannah Kim. What I bring today will change the future of your entire species. He gestured to one of his companions, who carried a large crystalline case. The case was beautiful, made of some kind of clear material that seemed to glow from within. May we go somewhere private? Kethvar asked. What I must show you is too important for public display. An hour later, they were in a secure meeting room deep beneath the government building. Present were the president, several ministers, top scientists, and military leaders. Hannah felt small and out of place among all these important people. Kethvar placed the crystalline case on the table and opened it carefully. Inside was something that looked like a 3-dimensional star map, but made of light instead of solid material. Tiny points of light floated in the air, connected by glowing lines. These are the coordinates to 17 star systems, Kethvar announced. Each system contains at least one world perfect for human life. The planets have water, breathable air, and rich soil for growing food. Dr. Yumi Kong, who had traveled to Earth to attend this meeting, leaned forward with wide eyes. 17 habitable worlds? Do you know what this means? We could solve Earth's population problems. Millions of people could have new homes. This is only the first part of my gift, Kethvar continued. We also provide the technology to make these worlds even better for your people. Machines that can change the weather, clean the air, and make the soil more fertile. Minister Park Soo-jin looked suspicious. Why would you give us such valuable information? These worlds could be worth trillions of dollars. Because the Vel theory demands equal exchange, Keth Var explained, Hannah Kim gave me life when I was dying. In return, I must give something equally valuable to her people. President Ryu shook his head in amazement. This is incredible, but surely this repays any debt you might feel you owe. Keth Var's expression became very serious. No, President Ryu, this is merely the beginning. The true gift has yet to be revealed. He activated another part of the star map, and new information appeared in glowing symbols. When our scientists analyzed your blood sister's blood, they discovered something that has shocked the entire Zephyrian Empire. Your species possesses abilities that we have been searching for across the galaxy for over 300 years. Hannah felt a chill run down her spine. What kind of abilities? Humans have a special genetic marker that makes you immune to quantum radiation, Keth Var explained. There are vast regions of space that we call the void zones. These areas are rich in rare minerals and energy sources, but the radiation kills most life forms within hours. We thought it was impossible for any creature to survive there. Dr. Kong stood up so quickly that her chair fell over. Are you saying that humans can go places where other aliens cannot? Not just survive there, Keth Var confirmed. Thrive there. Your bodies adapt to hostile environments better than any species we have encountered. You are the first people we have found who could explore and colonize the void zones. The room fell completely silent as everyone understood what this meant. General Kim Tae-ho finally spoke. What exactly are you proposing? Keth Var smiled for the first time since arriving. The Galactic Council has 7 member species who rule this part of the universe. They have always treated younger species as inferior, not worthy of equal treatment. He paused dramatically. The Zephyrian Empire wishes to sponsor humanity's membership in the Galactic Council, not as subjects or servants, but as equals, as the 8th member species. Hannah stared at him in shock. Her simple act of saving one alien's life was about to make humanity a major power in the galaxy. The meeting room beneath the Seoul government building had been transformed into something that looked like a science fiction movie. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps and alien worlds. Government leaders from around the world had flown to Korea to witness what was happening. Keth Var stood at the center of it all, his golden eyes reflecting the blue light from the displays. He had been talking for 2 hours, explaining things that seemed impossible to believe. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, said President Chinwei of China, leaning forward in her chair. You want to make humanity an equal member of some kind of galactic government? The Galactic Council, Keth Var confirmed. For over 2,000 years, 7 species have controlled this part of the universe. The Zephyrians, the Altarians, the Centaurians, the Vorthan, the Kretal, the Nexari, and the Amnari. We make decisions about trade, territory, and conflicts between worlds. Prime Minister Sarah Johnson of Britain shook her head. But we're just one small planet. We don't even have faster-than-light travel yet. Why would these powerful civilizations want us as equals? Keth Var activated a new holographic display. This one showed detailed scans of human DNA, with certain sections highlighted in bright red. Because your species has something we desperately need, he explained. For 3 centuries, the Council has been unable to expand into the void zones. These regions contain energy sources that could power entire civilizations for millions of years. The materials found there could build technologies beyond your current imagination. Dr. Min Tae-ho, Earth's leading geneticist, studied the DNA display carefully. The highlighted sections, they're related to cellular adaptation and radiation resistance. Exactly, Keth Var said. When we tested Hannah's blood, we found that humans can not only survive quantum radiation, but your cells actually become stronger when exposed to it. You are the only species in the known galaxy with this ability. Hannah, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, finally spoke up. So you need us to go into these dangerous areas for you? Not for us, Keth Var corrected gently. With us, as partners. The Zephyrian Empire proposes a complete alliance. We share our technology, our knowledge, our protection. In return, humanity helps us explore and develop the void zones. He gestured, and the holographic display changed to show massive space stations and ships. We offer you faster-than-light engines, energy weapons, medical technology that can cure any disease, and life extension treatments that could let humans live for 500 years. The room erupted in excited whispers. Everyone was talking at once, trying to understand what they were hearing. "Wait!" called out General Peterson from the United States. "What's the catch? This sounds too good to be true." Kethvar's expression became more serious. "There is no deception, General Peterson. However, there are challenges. The other 6 species on the Council will not easily accept a new member, especially one that has capabilities they lack." "You mean they might be jealous?" asked President Ryu. "Some will be suspicious. Others will try to form alliances with humanity for their own benefit. The Altarians are telepaths who will want to study your minds. The Centaurians are healers who will be fascinated by your adaptation abilities. The Vorthan are warriors who will respect your potential strength." Dr. Yumi Kong raised her hand like a student in class. "What about the other 3 species?" "The Kreetal are traders who will see profit opportunities. The Nexari are scientists who will want to understand how human genetics work. The Amnari." Kethvar paused. "The Amnari are isolationists. They may oppose humanity's inclusion, simply because they dislike change." Foreign Minister Lee, So Young, looked worried. "Are you saying we might make enemies?" "You will make both friends and enemies," Kethvar admitted. "But with Zephyrian protection and your own unique abilities, humanity will be safe. More than safe, you will be powerful." President Ryu stood up and walked to the holographic display, showing the 17 habitable worlds. "Let's say we agree to this. What happens next?" "First, we begin technology transfer immediately. Zephyrian engineers will help you build your first faster-than-light ships. We will establish joint colonies on 3 of the worlds I have given you coordinates for." "How long before we're ready to join this council?" asked Prime Minister Johnson. 1 year, Kethvar replied. "In 1 year, humanity will have the technology and knowledge needed to take your place among the galactic powers." Dr. Min raised another question. "What about the void zones? How dangerous are they really?" Kethvar's golden eyes grew distant. "We have lost entire fleets trying to explore them. The radiation doesn't just kill, it destroys matter at the atomic level. But according to our tests, human explorers would not only survive, but could stay there indefinitely. Could we live there permanently?" Hannah asked. "Better than that," Kethvar said, turning to face her directly. "We believe humans could build cities in the void zones. You could create colonies where no other species can go. You would control the most valuable resources in the galaxy." The weight of his words settled over the room like a heavy blanket. Everyone realized that humanity was being offered a chance to become one of the most important species in the universe. President Ryu looked around the room at all the world leaders, then back at Kethvar. "We need time to discuss this among ourselves." "Of course," Kethvar bowed respectfully. "But know this, the Vel theory will be fulfilled. Whether humanity accepts this gift or not, I am bound by honor to offer it." Hannah realized that her simple decision to save a dying alien had just changed the entire future of human civilization. 1 year later, Hannah floated in zero gravity, looking out to the transparent walls of humanity's first space station beyond the solar system. The view was breathtaking. Zephyrian ships worked alongside human vessels, building structures that seemed impossible just months before. The space station was called New Sol and orbited a beautiful blue planet in the Kepler system. Below, human colonists were already building their first city with the help of Zephyrian technology. Children were playing in parks while their parents worked in laboratories that combined human creativity with alien science. Hard to believe it's real, isn't it? Hannah turned to see Kethvar floating nearby. He no longer wore his warrior armor. Instead, he dressed in the elegant robes of a diplomatic advisor. His golden eyes were warm as he watched the construction work outside. "Sometimes I think I'm still dreaming," Hannah replied. 2 years ago, I was studying dirt samples from dead planets. Now I'm about to speak to representatives from across the galaxy. Today was the day. The Galactic Council was meeting to vote on humanity's membership. 7 ancient species would decide if humans deserved a place among the stars. Are you nervous? Kethvar asked gently. Terrified, Hannah admitted, what if I say something wrong? What if they decide we're not ready? Kethvar smiled. You saved my life without thinking about rewards or consequences. You acted from pure kindness. If you speak from that same heart, the council will see what I see, a species worthy of respect. They made their way to the council chambers, a massive room built specifically for this historic meeting. The chamber was designed to accommodate different alien biologies. Some species needed different air to breathe. Others required specific lighting or temperature. As they entered, Hannah saw representatives from 7 different worlds. The Altarian delegate looked almost human, but with silver skin and large black eyes. The Centaurian was tall and graceful, with 4 arms and skin that changed colors. The Vorthan representative was heavily armored, similar to Kethvar, but with red markings instead of blue. The most impressive was the Amnari delegate. This being was nearly 10 feet tall, made of what looked like living crystal that pulsed with inner light. Members of the Galactic Council, announced Commander Zerlin, who was representing the Zephyrian Empire. We present to you the candidate species, humanity of Earth. The Altarian delegate, whose name was Veltar, spoke first. Her voice was musical but cold. This species is very young. They have not even mastered their own planet's resources. Why should we consider them equals? Before Kethvar could answer, Hannah stepped forward. Because we don't want to be your equals just to take from you. We want to be equals so we can give back. The Centaurian delegate, Healer Mordun, leaned forward with interest. What could such a young species possibly offer us? Hannah took a deep breath. We can go where you cannot. We can explore the void zones and share what we find. But more than that, we can show you something you might have forgotten after thousands of years of civilization. And what is that? Asked the Vorthan warrior, General Caxtar. We can show you what it means to help others just because it's the right thing to do. The room fell silent. The crystal being of the Amnari pulsed brighter, which Hannah had learned meant deep thought. The Kretal trader, Zixlon, made a clicking sound with his mandibles. Your species has no significant resources to trade. Your technology is primitive. What profit could we gain from this alliance? Maybe profit isn't everything, Hannah replied calmly. When I saved Kethvar's life, I didn't think about what I might gain. I just saw someone who needed help. Scientist Corvin of the Nexery tilted her large head. Our research shows that human genetic material has unusual properties. Are you willing to share this for scientific study? Hannah nodded. If it helps everyone. Yes, but we'll share it freely, not sell it. We'll work together as partners, not as buyers and sellers. The Amnari delegate finally spoke. Its voice was like the sound of wind through crystal caves. For 2,000 years, this council has operated on principles of mutual benefit and careful calculation. This species speaks of giving without receiving. It is unusual. It is what makes them valuable, Kethvar interjected. In all our travels across the galaxy, we have never found a species that acts from pure compassion as consistently as humans do. The 7 delegates discussed among themselves in their various languages. The conversation went on for what felt like hours. Finally, Commander Zaralin called for order. The vote will now be taken. All in favor of accepting humanity as the 8th member of the Galactic Council? One by one, each delegate raised their hand, appendage, or limb in agreement, even the Amnari crystal being glowed brighter in approval. The vote is unanimous, Commander Zarlin announced. Humanity is hereby welcomed as an equal member of the Galactic Council. As the chamber erupted in various alien sounds of celebration, Kethvar approached Hannah. The Velthari is complete, he said softly. The debt is repaid. Hannah looked around at the alien delegates who were now approaching to congratulate her. Through the chamber windows, she could see human and alien ships working together, building a future that would benefit everyone. No, my friend, she said, smiling at Kethvar. This isn't the end of anything. This is just the beginning. That night, as Earth's children attended their first classes in galactic history and alien languages, Hannah realized that her simple act of kindness had not just saved one life. It had secured humanity's place among the stars forever.